Today, we're diving into a novel that was published way back in 1908, but somehow it feels as fresh and relevant as ever. I'm talking about E.M. Forster's A Room with a View. Now, on the surface, sure, it's about a young English woman on holiday in Italy. But if you dig just a little deeper, it's this brilliant, funny, and really moving exploration of social rules, personal truth, and the guts it takes to choose a life you actually want to live. And it all kicks off with this simple but kind of profound observation.
The book literally opens with this amazing provocative line. It seems so simple, right? It's just something someone says during a little argument over hotel rooms in Florence. But Forster, being the master that he is, isn't just talking about a pretty landscape from a window. Oh no, he's setting up the entire symbolic map of the whole novel with this one little sentence.
And that, right there, is the central question of this whole story. What is the real view he's talking about? As we're about to see, the view is so much more than the Arno River. It's a huge metaphor for a life of emotional honesty, of passion, and authenticity. You know, a life lived out in the sunshine, not huddled in the shadows.
So to really understand the view, we first have to understand its total opposite, the room. And for that, we need to meet our hero, Lucy Honeychurch, and the world she comes from.
Okay, so let's picture Lucy's world. We're talking about England in the early 1900s. The Victorian era is technically over, but its ghost is everywhere, especially in these rigid social codes and this idea that you just don't show your emotions. It's a world that runs on what's proper, what's done, and what you must never, ever say out loud. It is basically a society just full of rooms.
So what it all boils down to is this. The room is a life that's dictated by everyone else. It's the safety of what you know, the comfort of following the rules, and, let's be honest, the prison of pretending to be someone you're not. It's intellectual, it's buttoned up, and for Lucy, at the start of our story, it's the only life she's ever known.
But then, everything changes. A trip to Italy, the land of passion and sunshine, doesn't just open a window in Lucy's hotel, it threatens to blow the doors clean off her entire life.
And it all starts with this little muddle, which is a word Forster just loves to use. Lucy and her chaperone get rooms that face a courtyard, literally, a room without a view. Hearing this, two other guests, the very direct Mr. Emerson and his quiet son George, offer to swap. This simple act of kindness completely unravels Lucy's world. It's just not proper. It creates an obligation. It's a whole thing.
And this culture clash is just perfectly summed up by the local vicar, Mr. Beebe, when he's trying to explain the Emersons to Lucy. They speak the truth. I mean, it sounds simple, but in Lucy's world, it's like they're speaking a completely foreign language. The Emersons are everything her society is not. They're honest, they're emotional, and they could not care less about polite little lies.
And that clash just explodes in one of the most famous kisses in all of literature. During a group trip, Lucy wanders off into a field of violets, and George, just completely overwhelmed by the moment, kisses her. It is sudden, it is not approved, and it is utterly shocking. This is the view just bursting into Lucy's life. It's raw, it's real, and honestly, it terrifies her.
So, completely panicked by this taste of real, authentic emotion, Lucy basically flees back to England. And where does she go? Straight back into the safety of the room, where she makes a decision that's going to define her whole struggle.
Back in the very green, very orderly, and emotionally constipated English countryside, Lucy gets engaged to a guy named Cecil Vyse. He is, on paper, a perfect match. He's smart, he's wealthy, he's got all the right connections. But just listen to Forster's description. Medieval. Cecil is cold, rigid, and aesthetic. He doesn't love Lucy for who she is, but for the idea of who she is.
I mean, this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's the choice facing Lucy. On one side, you've got Cecil Vyse, the absolute poster boy for the room. He sees Lucy as a piece of art, a woman of Leonardo da Vinci's, something to be owned and admired. And on the other side, you've got George Emerson, the view made real. He's passionate, he's direct, and he sees Lucy simply as, well, as Lucy.
And if you need any more proof, just listen to this quote from Cecil himself. It is just devastatingly revealing. He loves her mystery, her secrets. He loves the idea of her, not the actual person. It is the ultimate expression of a life in the room, a love that's based on how things look, not how they feel. But of course, life, and Forster's plot, has a way of messing things up.
Through a wild series of coincidences, the Emersons actually move into a little cottage in Lucy's village, and suddenly, the view comes crashing right back into her carefully built room. Now, what's so brilliant about this part is that these aren't just descriptions, these are the literal titles of 4 chapters in a row. As George's presence forces Lucy to deal with her real feelings, she builds this fortress of denial around herself. She lies to everyone, one person after another, until she is completely trapped in a muddle of her own making, lying most of all to herself. The climax hits when old Mr. Emerson confronts Lucy. He just sees right through her web of lies and delivers this incredibly powerful plea. He begs her to stop fighting her own nature and just embrace the truth of her own heart. He's not just making a case for his son George, he's making a case for an authentic life. And it's this speech that finally gives Lucy the courage to do something.
And she does it. She actually does it. In this huge moment of courage, Lucy breaks her engagement to Cecil. She turns her back on the safe, socially approved life she was supposed to lead. She chooses passion over propriety, truth over comfort, and George over Cecil. She finally chooses the view.
So Lucy gets her happy ending. But Forster's novel is so much more than just a romance. It's really a snapshot of a world, and of literature itself, on the very edge of a massive, massive change. Just look at where this novel sits in history. It's published after Queen Victoria dies, which is kind of the symbolic end of an era, but before the total catastrophe of World War I, which would shatter that old world completely. And it comes just before the super experimental modernism of writers like James Joyce. Forster is writing in the twilight of an old world, and he's questioning its values right before they get swept away.
And this is really why it still matters. Lucy's personal journey from the room to the view is a mirror of a much larger cultural shift. Forster is championing the individual's inner life, your passions, your truths, your spirit, against the crushing weight of what society expects from you. That was a pretty radical idea for 1908, and it's one that still hits home in a big way today.
But, not everyone was a fan. The incredible modernist writer Catherine Mansfield had this famous and very sharp criticism of Forster. She basically says his work is all gentle setup, all cozy atmosphere, but that it never really delivers the hard, profound truths of life. In her words, there ain't gonna be no tea.
And that's the question I really want to leave you with. Is Forster's novel a little too neat, a little too gentle for the messy modern world that was about to be born? Or is its lasting power found in that exact warmth? Maybe a story that so beautifully argues for love and for truth and for the courage to find your own view. Maybe that isn't just a comforting pot of tea. Maybe it's the very thing we need.